Ilia, power puncher, boxer, low stance, versus Charles Oliveira. If someone gave you $100 grand to bet on that fight, who would you bet?
Ilia. But if you're asking who I would want to win, I'll put Charles. I'll put my money on Charles.
Yeah.
It's basically because Charles is going to stand in there upright, like you're saying, and Ilia's got a really good way of connecting with that chin. Really, really nice. Just like what he did with Volk. Ilia's got more opportunities than Charles does.
Islam Makhachev didn't hold back when he claimed that Charles Oliveira would whop Ilia Topuria at UFC 317. Even suggesting that the Spanish powerhouse should stop dreaming about a future fight with him.
If Islam becomes the welterweight world champion, for sure I'm gonna push for that shot also, and I will move to the welterweight division.
Makhachev, the former lightweight champion now chasing gold at welterweight, made it clear that Topuria is far from ready to face someone of his caliber. With Islam now gone from the 155-pound picture, the door is wide open for a new king, and Ilia Topuria is determined to take that throne, starting with Charles Oliveira.
A three-weight world champion. Yeah, this is my goal. Yeah, you're not gonna see him in the welterweight division like this, skinny. You're gonna see me different. Yeah, that's the goal. Move up to the lightweight division, get that belt, and then move up to the welterweight division.
Topuria has never lacked self-belief, and his confidence remains sky high ahead of his clash with Oliveira during International Fight Week. Despite moving up from featherweight and leaving his belt behind, the undefeated Spaniard appears unfazed by the pressure of entering a new weight class and taking on one of the most dangerous finishers in UFC history. His mission is clear: to secure the lightweight title and become a two-division champion.
You are gonna see me at 155 that I'm gonna touch someone and I'm gonna take his lights out. I feel so powerful at that weight class, so stable in the ground. Do you wanna wrestle? Let's wrestle, no problem. And I have the gas tank for 5 days, not 5 rounds.
During interviews leading up to the bout, Topuria showed his usual swagger, promising to end Oliveira's night early. He spoke openly about his belief that the Brazilian will crumble within minutes of the fight beginning. He predicted a finish in the first 2 or 3 minutes, stating that once Oliveira feels the speed and power, he'll immediately resort to takedowns and try to bring the fight to the ground. Topuria isn't concerned. He respects Oliveira's accomplishments and considers him a solid competitor, but insists that when it's time to compete, nothing else matters. He plans to go all in.
I can knock him out, I can submit him, whatever. The only thing I know for sure is that I'm gonna knock him out in the first round or submit him in the first round, because he walks forward. I'm not gonna need to close the distance with him. Since the first moment, we are gonna find each other in the center of the octagon. So, yeah, it's gonna be a first round finish.
In his appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Topuria elaborated on how he sees the fight unfolding. While he acknowledged Oliveira's reputation and his UFC record for most finishes, he emphasized that none of that history matters when facing someone like him. According to Topuria, legends such as Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway had never been knocked out until they faced him. He believes Oliveira, too, is in for a rude awakening.
What are you envisioning now as far as the way the fight goes?
I'm gonna finish him in the first round.
You say that to me like I say I'm going to get a coffee.
Yeah, because he walks forward. This is all I need. Like the time that takes me always to knock out my opponents is the time that takes me to close the distance, because they run away. They run, they move to side, and once I close the distance and I go with my combinations, I knock them out. Like, just try to stay in the middle of the octagon. Just try to do that, and you are not gonna see me coming.
Topuria is not short on experience against elite fighters. He's coming off 2 spectacular wins over Volkanovski and Holloway, both of whom he stopped with striking clinics that shocked the MMA world. Despite Oliveira's well-rounded skill set, Topuria remains unfazed. He claims his speed, combinations, and ability to close the distance will be the deciding factors. Oliveira's tendency to move forward aggressively, he says, will actually make the job easier. Unlike previous opponents who circled and moved laterally to avoid Topuria's power, Oliveira will walk straight into it.
Charles Oliveira has been dropped by just about everybody that he's fought. What happens when you go up against a dude that's knocking people out, not TKOing people, knocking people out cold like Ilia Topuria? Ilia Topuria goes high-low. He can go to the body. He can go up top. We saw him one time at 155 pounds where he did get hurt, but the matador in him, he came back and he ended up knocking him out. Charles Oliveira is the bigger fighter, taking down Michael Chandler, taking down Justin Gaethje with those beautiful double legs. Charles Oliveira is the guy that has to make those adjustments. If not, it's going to be the double champ. It's going to be Ilia Topuria securing himself as a 2-division world champion.
At 28 years old, Topuria has compiled a flawless 15-0 record, with only 2 fights going to the judges. His dominance has sparked discussions about his potential to become one of the greats. UFC 317 presents an opportunity to add another big name to his resume, and if his prediction holds true, it might just be his most emphatic performance yet. As for Oliveira, he remains one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. With 23 UFC wins, 16 of which came by submission, his ground game is legendary. But Topuria has insisted he's ready for wherever the fight goes, even to the mat with a jiu-jitsu specialist like Du Bronx. That's where Beneil Dariush, a former title contender who shared the cage with Oliveira at UFC 289, enters the conversation. Dariush, despite being stopped in the first round by Oliveira, still believes Topuria might have the edge. He praised Topuria's boxing and Greco-Roman wrestling, stating that the fight could come down to grappling superiority.
They're overlooking Charles, and Charles, if he's able to mix in his Muay Thai, what I mean, like his knees and his kicks, and he's able to use those as fakes, it's going to be a really difficult fight for Ilia. And I think people don't understand. The last 2 fights, Ilia was able to win those fights, not because of his boxing, but because of his leg kicks. And Charles is very good at defending the leg kick. So it's not going to be an easy fight.
Still, Dariush isn't writing off Oliveira. He sees the Brazilian's unpredictable striking and versatility as major threats. Oliveira's ability to blend kicks, knees, and submissions make him a nightmare for anyone, and his aggressive approach has overwhelmed some of the best lightweights in history. But Dariush leans slightly toward Topuria, seeing his physicality and wrestling base as potential advantages.
Hey, I also got to bring this up with you, man. He was doing an interview with Shaq, who's a really great journalist. He has a page, Shaq MMA. And I had a look, man. Look at this right here. I don't know if you can really see the video, but over his eye, looks like a new cut that was just sort of stitched up right here. What does that look like to you? I was having a look with Brian Campbell on this before. Looks like a cut right over the eye that looks pretty fresh that got stitched up not long ago. I wonder how much. Yeah.
If it's already stitched up, then he'll be fine. It won't be much of an issue. Cuts like that take 5 days to heal.
Oh, really?
It takes 5 days to heal, but then you're not supposed to spar for a few weeks. So it could slow down his camp, but it shouldn't be anything dramatic.
Jorge Masvidal has also thrown his support behind Topuria, citing years of familiarity with the rising star. Masvidal, who once held the BMF title and has trained with some of MMA's best, described Topuria as a rare talent, 1 in 10,000. He sees something special in the Spanish-Georgian fighter and is confident that he'll walk away from UFC 317 with the belt around his waist. According to Masvidal, Topuria has the tools to neutralize Oliveira's weapons and finish the fight.
Charles is bigger. Charles has kicks, knees, elbows, great jiu-jitsu. But Ilia is just different, brother. This guy is special. And I think he's going to be a world champion at 155. He's going to beat Charles, man.
I'd bet the house on Ilia. His grappling, offensively, it's very good. If like you shoot in on this guy's legs, and you make a mistake and you're the one going for the takedown, he has a very good chance that he might put your ass.
Topuria's rise is not just about talent, it's also about timing. When he announced his move to lightweight earlier this year, Islam Makhachev was still the champion. Now that Makhachev has stepped up to welterweight, the division is in flux. Topuria knows that eventually his path could cross with Makhachev, especially if both secure titles in their respective divisions. While some fans speculated that Islam might be avoiding Topuria, the Spaniard dismissed dismiss that idea. He believes Makhachev just wants new challenges and is tired of cutting weight. That said, Topuria made it clear he's open to facing him in any division if the stars align.
This was meant to be his last. Do you believe he moved up to welterweight to avoid you, or because he had his own goals?
Because he has his own goals. This is what I think. We'll see how he does in the welterweight division. If Islam becomes the welterweight world champion, if he wins the title, I win the title in the lightweight division, and I will move to the welterweight division.
In terms of physical preparation, Topuria revealed that he walks around at about 180 pounds, making featherweight cuts increasingly difficult. He claims that moving up has revitalized him. He feels stronger, healthier, and no longer needs to drain himself during fight camp. On fight night, he expects to weigh between 174 and 179 pounds, closer to Oliveira's natural weight. At featherweight, he competed between 167 and 171, but the extra pounds now, he says, are giving him a new lease on life.
So with this extra 10 pounds, how much better do you think you'll be able to perform inside the octagon?
You are gonna see me at 155 that I'm gonna touch someone and I'm gonna take his lights out. I don't need to touch his chin. I just touch his head and it will explode. I feel so powerful at that weight class, so stable in the ground. Like, do you wanna wrestle? Let's wrestle. No problem. And I have the gas tank for 5 days, not 5 rounds.
That confidence in his size and skill has led some to speculate whether he might eventually make a run at welterweight. Topuria hasn't ruled it out. He said if the right opportunity arises, like a matchup with current champ Belal Muhammad, he wouldn't hesitate. In his mind, weight is just a number, not a barrier. If someone disrespects him, he's not going to ask how tall or heavy they are. He's going to fight. That attitude might one day lead him into a third division, but before thinking too far ahead, there's another name lurking in the background, Paddy Pimblett. The two had a heated altercation in 2022 at a fighter hotel in London, and their feud has only grown since. Pimblett recently defeated Michael Chandler with a third-round TKO and is on a 9-fight win streak, 7 of which came in the UFC. While Topuria isn't pushing for the fight yet, he believes it's inevitable, especially if Pimblett gets one more win. He even predicted that Pimblett could defeat Justin Gaethje because of how well their styles match up.
What's next? So obviously you're thinking about winning this fight. First, what happens? How you see this fight going, considering what you stated from
As I
Charles.
told you, I respect him, but I'm gonna knock him out in the first round because.
Who's next?
Who is next after
who you like
Charles?
in the division?
I don't know. Hopefully Paddy. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. Hopefully he gets one more fight. He wins that fight, of course, and finally we can be in the same octagon together.
Topuria stated that Gaethje is a warrior and fun to watch, but he thinks Pimblett's style is uniquely suited to beating him. If that happens, a title fight between Pimblett and Topuria could be one of the UFC's biggest showdowns, drawing massive attention from fans worldwide. While Topuria acknowledges the size of such an event, he also recognizes how important location could be.
Awesome. In terms of your own career, where are we at right now? Because the last time we heard from you...
I'm waiting for the winner of Ilia and Charles. They fight next week, June 28th. I'll be there. That's who I want to fight.
I've been interviewing you for about 10 years now. I think I kind of know your answer, but you know, Ilia is saying if Islam wins, he's going to push to go up to welterweight after that. So
I can't control any of that, so I don't spend no energy on it. But sounds stupid to me. We'll see.
Your manager Ali also said earlier, you know, and I want to get your words because we've only heard from Ali, that if you don't get the title shot, you're willing to just hang it up and walk away for good.
We'll see how it goes. Catch me on a certain day, I'll tell you a certain thing. It's a very emotional sport, but I try not to speak too out of pocket when I'm emotional, which is right now. So I'm going to fight again in the future. Has to be the champion.
A dream fight in Spain, perhaps in the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium, remains a goal for Topuria. He envisions a historic moment for Spanish MMA if the UFC can finally hold an event there. Although Dana White has shown interest in bringing the UFC to Spain, logistical challenges remain. Primetime European fights don't always generate the same pay-per-view numbers in the US, which complicates scheduling. Despite this, Topuria is hopeful that the UFC can work out a deal to make it happen in the future.
What excites me more is the fight with Paddy. And if they could put that fight in Spain, in the Bernabeu Stadium, I know that Dana doesn't like to put the events in the stadium, but that's the only stadium in the world that they can close the roof. And this prepared for that kind of.
How many people?
80,000. Yeah.
You get 80,000 in Spain easy too.
Yeah.
If you're fighting in Spain,
no problem.
Oh my God, that would be insane.
And a lot of people could travel from England to Spain.
Oh yeah.
And that happens very often.
But if they do it in Spain, it's got to be on Spain time. They can't do that shit that they did when Leon Edwards fought.
It has to be in Spain time, but I think that with the negotiations they are having with ESPN and I don't know in which platform they are going to put the UFC events, they're going to ask space for 4 or 5 events in Europe in the prime time.
For Europe.
Yeah,
Europe
for
prime
Europe.
time.
For now, all eyes are on UFC 317. It's a fight that could redefine the lightweight landscape and cement Topuria's place as a 2-division great. He's taken out legends before, but Charles Oliveira presents a new kind of threat, one with devastating submissions and the power to end fights standing. Yet Topuria remains unshaken. His perfect record, recent knockouts, and mental toughness have made him a terrifying presence in 2 divisions. Despite Islam Makhachev's dismissive remarks, Topuria isn't focused on proving anything to the former champ. He's focused on making statements in the cage. Against Oliveira, he plans to do exactly that, with speed, precision, and a few explosive combinations that he believes will shut the lights out early. Whether it's a knockout in the opening minutes, a ground battle against a submission master, or a war of attrition, Ilia Topuria is ready, and if he does what he says he will, the lightweight division and possibly even Makhachev will have no choice but to take notice.